Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here for another quantum conversation, and we are literally going quantum today as my guest is here to share on the incredible energies and the shifting that's going on. Many have been reporting upgrades on all fronts, and this is a great metaphor for the continuous upgrade that we're under with these new frequencies. We are talking with Lisa Transcendence Brown. Hello, Lisa.
Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm excited to be back with you. We love doing this, and it's an important time energetically and huge with the shift of the consciousness of the planet. So I appreciate the opportunity to come together and share information that will assist and support. So, you know me, it's all about the information and getting it out there and supporting people, but I have some new ways of breaking things down that might help people see a little bit easier. Yes, it's huge. Yes, there's a lot going on with the vibration of the planet, universally, cosmically, all of these things that we bring together into the same place, and how they affect each person. Ooh, frequency, screaming. Here we go. Okay, we're about to go really high, guys.
Talk about the frequencies that just started a little while ago.
Well, they change all throughout the day. And so each frequency does a certain thing. And so about an hour ago, we shifted into what I call the 2222 code, which is a mega blast of crystalline consciousness, higher consciousness. And it starts working through the immune system and breathing and the chest wall and a lot of these things. And it starts the body moving into, it's a reworking of the immune system and the nervous system and all that kind of stuff. And so sorry, I got wind everywhere. Let's see if I can do something about this. Our light body, our physical body, and how it handles all of this is going to be relative to different things. And it has to do with programming, all the words that I use, but they all correlate to different things. And so it'll equate to density and light, but an easier way to explain that is going to be unconsciousness versus consciousness. Density, which our human aspect doesn't understand density. It's not weight. It's physical matter to mass ratio and light quotient. And so it's very different than, so size technically, when consciousness starts working through our body, then our bodies actually get bigger and blow up. Mm-hmm. And so, the human aspects run around going, you don't know how many people still trying to control their body, still trying to against the body and not support the body. And a part of I'm going to move around a lot because it's a movement of energy. So I looked the other day, I told Loren, I looked the other day, and so I move a lot during interviews, and I didn't understand. And our bodies have to constantly move. And so it's moving energy when I move. So apologies, but I know I'm just like all over the place, but it's moving.
It's okay. It really is. It's wonderful.
All right. So
okay.
We talk with our hands and our energy and everything, we're all in place. All right. So, but it's a part of being connected to a unified field of consciousness, and everything moves and everything all the time. But our physical body has to wake up and transcend through ascending. And so what's going on with the whole planet, but on multidimensional levels, they're divided, if you will, and I divide things and I separate things to explain them, but then we put it all back together again. So we break it down to see, but then we put it all back together because it becomes one again. It's a part of the whole thing. And so, but each frequency bandwidth, each dimension is experiencing everything completely different than another one is. So even everybody's reality in different vibrational frequency bandwidths are going to be completely different. Just because of, and I use the word level, But level just means how deep we've been able to go inside of us and connect on a soul level within ourselves. And so the deeper we go inside, the more depth that we have, the more access we get to all of the dimensions, because they're all inside the body, where our human ego doesn't want to go to feel all of that or deal with all of that. We basically, you have to go through it all, clear it all, work through it all, because all the dimensions are experienced from inside of the body. And then as we access, and we use words of activating portals and walking through, we do gateways and all these things. And every part of the body correlates to something out there. Every part of the body correlates to a belief system. Everything in the body correlates to something that was suppressed or is out of harmony. Everything in the body represents something. And so we have to looking at everything on an energetic level. Consciousness is energetic. Consciousness is many things. It's not just this or that. It's this and this and this and this. It's all these things. The first part of the journey is awakening, which is where everybody's world starts going haywire. Okay? That's where all the illusions start becoming visible. That's where all of the disillusionment comes from. That's where people's worlds, the kind of like pulling the carpet out from under people's feet. Mm-hmm. But a lot of our worlds will turn upside down, which in essence is what we call a pole flip. And so there's a lot of things, if we really want to know and really open up to how all this works, all the information that really applies to what's going on, it's very simple. It's not complicated. It's just that our ego doesn't want to hear anything that doesn't fit into its box.
Yes.
And so the ego is a linear, fixed mentality, fixed reality, whereas the earth has been multidimensional all along. The only thing is that nobody had the capability to live through full consciousness, a multidimensional reality, until we came through certain parts of the process, which will equate back to where a lot of the forerunners and gatekeepers and grid keepers and all that stuff, we all went through certain awakenings that started around the 2007, 8, 9 timeline. Mm-hmm. I'm going to explain this in different ways because it helps people see that all of this is different perspectives. All of this is different languages we use. This is why you can't get hung up on words. You have to pay attention to the energy and see what you feel. And if my reality is really distorted inside of me and I think everybody's out to get me, then the way I feel is going to be everybody's out to get me. And so my perception of a reality is going to be constant fear, constant protection, constant battle. Whereas if my energy, if where I come from, it is love and unity and a deep sacred respect and connected with all things, then my reality is going to be very different than somebody else's who's finger pointing and blaming everybody and isn't ready to stand in their power and take power back. And so it's really understanding all of those programs. It's conditioning, it's programming, but it's through degraded DNA. And so when we start actually looking at this on a multidimensional level, what the planet is going through is awakening, and it occurs with the physical body. It occurs with its physical reality. The awakening process is coming to see everything's an illusion. See that everything is messed up. See that everything's not right. But then there's other phases that go beyond the seeing. It's what you do once you see. That's where consciousness actually comes in. It's the part of the journey of getting the heart open, where our hearts have to break. Our hearts pour, we have grief, we have all these uncomfortable energies that have to come up and leave the body. They anchored the body in a lower dimension. They held the body in that timeline. So now I'm going to present this to you because I told you I was going to bring some new things to play with today. Is that, I keep seeing, once we came through, those of us who started and we had roles to fulfill for higher consciousness humanity. We had roles to step into pre 2012, 2011, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people were getting ready to fulfill those roles as gatekeepers and grid keepers, and a lot of the words that we use, emissaries, ambassadors. We have all these words that we use, like keepers, because technically we're all this. Everybody here is. Everybody on this planet holds the codes for higher consciousness humanity within themselves. It's in their DNA. It's activating that consciously and doing this consciously is what makes the difference. Unconscious is suffering and rough and getting beaten to death and beating your head against the wall and trying to fit everything back into the old ways because we didn't want anything to change. If you look out there, and when I look outside, I can see it multidimensionally. And so what I go look out there to see what everybody else is going through is going to be different than my own actual experience and my reality, if you will. And the reason I say this to you is because pre-2011, 2012, even before, but I'm using that as we use them as reference points for big shifts, if you will. That's when all the gateways open for us to move beyond all the old ways. Everything came forth as new, and all of those embracing that on a soul level moved into those roles through unifying on a soul level and bringing all that information forth. And so activating those higher consciousness levels of DNA strands in our body, realigning our lives on a soul level, restructuring our entire reality through full consciousness, so that everybody who consciously was aware they held these codes could step into those roles and start to unite and assist humanity with this huge transition that we're in right now. Okay? And everybody in some capacity that's even semi-conscious has been doing this in some capacity. You know, some people have been doing it 30, 40 years, but there's a huge difference between awakening and ascension. Awakening is the first part. But ascension is a very different part of the journey that takes everybody deep inside. You can't do that with everybody else. You have to pull completely away and merge on a soul level and weed through all the ego programming, weed through all that stuff, clear all of that separation out inside of you and merge as one with your whole being, with your whole essence, with your whole body, with everything becomes one inside. And you remember, you actually have the memory where it floods your body with consciousness. And the tears come and the seeing how all this came to be and the falling from consciousness again and falling from the stars and actually being with your consciousness in outer space. All these spontaneous things that occur are a part of a much bigger process and picture and how everything works here. Ascension is going deep inside. It's a very different part of the journey that the human aspect avoids. And so when we're going through ascension, awakening, it will get to a point where it becomes too overwhelming. I can't take the outside world. At that point, everybody's about to go inward, pull away. The more they go out and it's too much, or the more they turn the TV on and it's too much, until it becomes too much, it's feeding all the lack and the fears. It's feeding an addiction to 3D consciousness. Okay? Survival mode, safety, security, all of the things that emanate from root chakra. And I use words, but then it's so much bigger than that. I'm only bringing little pieces and parts in. Once we came through the 2012 gateway, the whole ball game changed. Everything is different. Nothing is as anybody believed. Nothing. The old rules don't apply anymore. You kind of have to throw everything out the window that you ever believed and start from scratch. And so 3D is no longer the physical real. And I have to repeat this in everything I do, because getting the point across is like a big deal when we have fixed mentalities. Okay. And yes. So we it over and over and over. And one, at some point, years later, sometimes it finally gets through. It's finally that moment that the light bulb comes on and we go, oh, I get it. We're kind of breaking through programming when we say things over and over and over. There's a point to all of that. Because we have to hear it a million times before it sinks in, before it gets through, and usually through a million experiences too. Breaking down those walls, breaking down that resistance, breaking down the fight, breaking all of that programming down. We're basically, I'm going to use the human experience now, but then I can get into galactic and sacred and soul and all these different experiences too, because they're all a part of the bigger whole. We're basically reversing everything that was ever done during the entire unconscious human reality, which is a massive undertaking. We're repairing all of our degraded DNA for everything we ever drank that had a chemical in it. We're repairing all the oxygen we breathe that wasn't clean. We're repairing our DNA. It's a massive undertaking to clear and cleanse our body of everything that is toxic. And majority of the toxins always come from emotions, hurt, pain, all this kind of stuff that we play with. And all the, I'm going to call them lower and higher vibration just to make a point, but they're all unconscious programs. They're all a part of duality. They're all of the battle against. They're all the I gave my power away. They're all these things. And so when we came through 2011, 2012 gateway, the whole ball game changed. So now 3D isn't the physical reality anymore. And people go, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Quantum isn't going to make any sense to linear. It's not. Doesn't fit into the old rules. Well, now we are in, the other day I woke up and I get to see everything because I work with a multitude of all the gridding systems. I work with on a galactic level, soul level, cosmic level, within Gaia. Gaia speaks. She tells us everything. We can hear everything going down, the vibrational frequencies of the planet. And within our body, we have gridding systems. We have all these things that play as a part of the whole. We actually work with every one of those systems and grids constantly, 24 hours a day. And it's through all that information and the ability to see that we take that information and we package it and put it together so it makes sense to the typical human reality. I know, but I have to say these things just to make a point. But the reason I say this is that 3D, 4D, 5D, we're only going to work with 3, 4, 5 right now, because then we get into much higher dimensional realities that all come online as we do. But 3D is, if people can reassociate, this is about reassociating the way you perceive, reassociating what you believe, reassociating your mentality about everything. You have to reassociate your belief system. And so if each person can look at their whole experience and break it down, 3D is your experience. 4D is your experience. 5D is your experience. 3D is a fear-based experience. And then I can get into a bunch of the other things. 5D is an experience through unity and love and Christed consciousness and beauty and sharing and caring. And so you have a ton of people all over the earth that they live a 5D experience. They're not suffering. They're not going through hell. 3D is hell. 5D is heaven. I mean, we can break it down any way you want. And Lorraine, you've seen, when you're in your bliss and your magic and everything's heaven, you're in 5D. Isn't everything simple there?
Absolutely.
The only time it's not simple is when we shift out of that and we go back into a 4D or a 3D reality. And so it's really, where everybody is returning to consciousness. We're bringing it forth from within us. All of the codes, all of the templates for all of humanity are in our body. It's just that I can read all the codes. I can see the schematics. I can see all the, because that was my role, was to come bring all this information and knowledge forth to assist with humanity's transition, just like a ton of other people are doing too.
Mm-hmm.
You will see light keepers and grid keepers and gatekeepers. And, you know, they have different words. Everybody has different words. And it's not the words, it's the level of purity. It's the level of pure consciousness, source consciousness, the level of love and unity that we live from with our whole reality. Templates will apply to everybody's whole reality, whereas you will have an activation of a consciousness. But then once you activate that consciousness, you have to align your whole life, everything in your life, everybody's job, every relationship. This is like a big deal because of how it affects reality. It's the opposite of the old ways. Consciousness affects reality. Reality only affects consciousness. No, let me take that back. Hold on. Consciousness affects reality, how people perceive reality. It's either through full source consciousness, full higher consciousness, whatever words you want to use, or fractaled aspects of a reality and stuff. If we focus on the physical reality, we miss the point. When you get into quantum, it isn't about the physical reality, it's about the energy. And so the human aspect, the ego aspect, is focused on the physical reality. And it's disconnected from the energy of things. It only knows it feels it, but it doesn't understand. And then it's got all these judgments about everything. Whereas when we all elevate our consciousness back to who we truly are, which is full, pure source consciousness, we're energy. When I connect with you, I'm going to read your energy. And I'm going to see, is this person coming from their ego? Is their heart open? Can they share? Are they playing small and selfish and greedy? And then I'm going to make a decision. Do I want these people in my world? Those who are fully conscious surround themselves with other conscious people, and those conscious people are creating the new earth realities, building the new earth realities, forming the new earth realities, while everybody else is playing out unconscious programming and spewing hate and pointing the finger and going through reality collapses. Their bodies will break down. We have to really understand how this works. 3D, 4D, 5D is your experience. So when you look at what you're going through, if it's whatever that is mirroring back to you, it's going to represent your level of consciousness that you're functioning from. So you start using the outside as a mirror to see yourself. And you basically have to take the blinders off. You have to be really, really real. You have to see how ridiculous the old is, how unconscious the old is without judging it. This is about letting go of all the judgment. Judgment is, there's a lot of judgment and persecuting by people out there right now because they don't understand that they're, I mean, use the word stuck, but stuck is even not real. Stuck means I don't like the alternative. Stuck means I don't want to listen. Stuck means I'm letting my ego run the show. Stuck means I'm not making a conscious choice. Stuck means I see what I could do, but I don't want to do it. And it's basically stuck means no conscious action and no conscious choices and not listening and shut down and I'm in my head. I'm trying to fix everything back the old way. And each person will be stuck in that until that frequency bandwidth has been cleared from their body, until that mindset dissolves, clears, breaks. And so what you're going to see is a lot of people going through breaking down. That's a cellular breakdown of unconsciousness. That's where the program was held. That's where that mentality was. That's where that belief system was. That's where all that was. And the body, people's bodies are going to go through a breakdown process now. They had no clue that their bodies were holding unconscious programming and how deep all this goes. It's in every organ. It's in our bones. It's in our teeth. It's in our hair. It's in our blood. It's in it. It's every particle of our body has to go through a rewriting process. This is an immense process. It's your light body waking up. Your light body is your energy body. Your light body is your soul body. Your light body is your body of consciousness, basically trying to emerge from within us and take over and clear the fear and clear the hurt and clear the victim mentalities and clear the blame and clear the judgment, clear all this unconscious programming. But the more asleep, unconscious, unaware, the more resistance we hold. The more we keep trying to fit it back the old ways, the more suffering we go through because we're not willing to listen. And so this means really everybody opening their heart completely and starting to listen to that which doesn't make any logical sense. None. I've had many of these conversations. My inbox is inundated with people's realities. Collapse, 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 collapse. We have been saying for years. But here's the thing. That's a linear comment. This is a vibrational experience until each person hits that place in their timeline. And I'm going to go to timelines in a moment. To where it's time for them to shift out of a certain reality into another one. It isn't time for them. So this is really about everybody understanding you have codons in your body and they turn on. When it's time for each person to wake up, those codons turn on. Until that time, they are experiencing their current human reality. And then I can get into breaking all that down too. But I would love for everybody to start reassociating the way they see. This is about inner vision, inner knowing. This is about letting everything fall away, trust and listen inside of you. You have higher guidance. You have to consult it. You have to ask it. You have to listen to it and what it tells you to do. You have to learn to discern. We have to learn to disengage the old. There's a lot of things that we do. By pulling away from the old, we're making space for the new to come through. And so all the people that won't pull away from the old, there's no space for new. And so what I've been working with a lot of people lately is to reassociate. 3D is not the physical reality. 3D is a timeline. 4D, the reason I'm going to do this is because it shifts our perception so we can actually understand a little bit better. 4D is a timeline. 5D is a timeline. Now I'm going to use timelines, and you'll have people come in, there's no such thing as timelines. And in one aspect, that's true. But we use words to shift mentalities and understanding so that we can break out of old programming and into new. Then we let that go and we move on to a different perception too. We describe timelines because those of us who can see, we can see down an entire timeline. So the moment I meet you, Loren, let's say, if you and I come together and you're really, really unconscious, I'm going to see the whole timeline right then and go, oh no, the whole reality is going to collapse. I don't want to be in this relationship. Because I can see the whole reality based upon the current vibration. And then I get to consciously make a choice. Do I want to continue down this path? Do I want to continue down? Do I want to create? People don't understand when we come together, we're creating a reality. Do I want to create with you? Do I want to continue this? And that's the choices we all have to make, is that do I want to travel a 2-year, because linear will equate to timelines, and you can start shifting the way you see. If everybody looks at 3D as a karmic timeline, nobody will want to be in 3D. The whole 3D reality, if you will, is a karmic timeline. Well, here's the key. So I'm going to ask you, Loren, because I've worked with you for so long, we know this. How do you shift timelines?
Being in the open heart, being very present and making a different choice. As you were speaking there, I was able to see recently how I was literally creating a frequency loop. I used to call it a time loop until I spoke with you. But it's because of the frequency that I was at, that I was able to see it even though it was a different experience in a different relationship, I could see a program within me that was actually causing it.
Beautiful.
And so I surrendered the ego.
Yay! That's a huge accomplishment, because in the beginning, none of us could do that. I mean, surrendering our ego means not engaging in the fight, not engaging in the battle, not jumping in and trying to be right about everything. It means really stepping back and observing and doing the conscious thing. And consciousness is going to be love, compassion, kindness, respect, caring, but in a different way. It's not pity. It's not I care because I pity you. That's all ego game. A timeline is vibrational. So if everybody can understand, timelines are energetic and vibrational. So if you desire a different timeline experience, 3D, 4D, 5D, if you want a 5D experience, what do? You shift your vibration. The reason I'm equating this differently right now is because so many people go, oh, 3D, I can't get out of 3D, 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 3D. And I keep hearing the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, the mindset.
Money is a big issue. Money or resources, right? So what would you say for someone to shift their vibration and get over that aspect? Limited resources, right?
Perception of the human aspect, and I speak in aspects. We have the human aspect is what I call the ego, because once you become a soul, once you live and you unify on a soul level, and once you unify on a galactic level and all these different levels and stuff like that, then everything else is human ego. And so there's a defining line between consciousness and unconsciousness. It's either heart consciousness and love consciousness, or it's an ego unconscious program, which is the opposite of love. So there is a defining line between them. The only thing is that when we are conscious, fully conscious, our hearts are open, we truly care, we're coming from our purest place, pure. That's the thing the human ego can't come from. It's a very pure place of love and respect, deep sacred respect inside.
Would you say that the soul light is pure, or it's the consciousness, it's divine Christed consciousness we've heard of? It's the light that's pure.
And so when I function like this with me and you, I'm coming from my purest place of love. Every word I say is a conscious choice. Every word I say is consciously transmitting out light codes and information. Your heart doesn't close anymore. You don't go into protection mode against anybody or anything, because you've returned to full love consciousness within yourself, and that's how you live your life completely. Everything else is ego. We have source consciousness, we have soul consciousness. And so, with me going through all the different light body phases and all the different levels of consciousness and embodiment of this aspect and that aspect, you have your soul. But then once you go through soul union, which is what brings everybody into the fifth dimension, it's soul union, unifying on a soul level and becoming your soul. The fifth dimension is starting to live heaven on earth. But it's the beginning of the process, because there's a whole lot of other stuff that takes place after that. Soul consciousness and union within on a soul level is ascension, which is a returning to consciousness. But then we start moving into super consciousness. We start moving into various states of quantum consciousness. We start moving into mastering the physical reality through full consciousness, where you actually get to see how everything works and you reconstruct your entire reality through codes and frequencies where everything's highest aligned, where everything's simple. And so the deeper we go inside, the higher we can go in consciousness, but the more we have to embody this and bring it in. So you have to live your life that way. It's not enough just to have the expansion and then go back to your old life. We can't do that. So a lot of people, we go through the expansion, but the template building process takes years. It's not an overnight process because everything in your body and your reality has to be realigned. Everything has to be recoded through all new codes. Now we have, for the plan, I'm coming back to your question. I didn't forget, but I want to say this really quick so I don't forget. The other day when I woke up, the words were the law of one. Well, I didn't come through the law of one, but I understand what the law of one is. Because when you live in oneness, you understand. When you live through cosmic law, you understand all the cosmic laws and how they work. The entire earth is now being aligned with the law of one.
Hallelujah.
We say that, but it's not fun when you start physical reality starts realigning for you through oneness.
You know what? If we really contemplate that, and I think that's a good tool for everyone to take in the next week, is to really think about everything from the law of one. Oh my goodness. I think all of our websites need to be revamped and sharing it. I mean, it's huge, Lisa. It's really huge. I can see the immensity of it.
That's why I'm saying this right now. I haven't even written this for people because there's so much to write and share. This last week was a huge deal. Those of us who are gatekeepers and grid keepers, it took me 8 to 9 days to complete the process of all the new codes and for my template body and all this kind of stuff, so I could actually get up and function again. I was knocked out for almost 9 days solid. And then I'm back, I'm bang on, I can bang through stuff, and then we start going through it all over again. We all have had to realign our whole life to soul consciousness. We've all had to realign everything. So, and you have to learn how to maneuver and do everything all over again. It's nothing like the old way. Everything is different here, so you really have to be open to accept everything and change and be wide open for higher consciousness knowledge to replace lower consciousness reality. Everything on earth now, when I got up the other day, Gaia speaks, okay, one, we achieved a new baseline for the frequency of the planet. Now it's off the charts even more than it ever was before. Now we're starting from a much higher frequency bandwidth. It took 8 days for me to complete it with my body so that I could get up and function. Everybody else's email and my little Lisa was, why my body doing this? You know, my phone's ringing off the hook and I can't take care of everybody. This is a personal journey. We teach, we do everything we can. We do our sessions, we do everything we can. We put the information out there, but it's really up to each person to really embrace this now, because ascension is a personal journey. It's not done with other people. You have to do it with your own soul inside, which is why the pulling away occurs. The law of one now presides on this planet. That's going to replace everything.
I just got goosebumps.
This is huge. Everybody running around playing out duality. One, we achieved a higher frequency bandwidth of being bombarded constantly with light codes that are constantly moving through the body and waking the body up and clearing suppression and clearing unconsciousness and clearing, and the body trying to repair its DNA and recalibrate and recode. And then you have your body and your unified field and all this kind of stuff. And all of this has to link up. And it all links up cosmically, galactically, universally, within Gaia's grids and in your body too. So there's like this massive process going on that if you're not in tune and paying attention, you have no clue what's going on. This is an immense process. Is Gaia just released massive coding that aligns with the law of one? Which means that if Gaia released it, it released in everybody's body too. And everything that's not aligned with cosmic law and the law of one is going to come up to be clear. That's about to be huge. This presides over our planet now. Whether anybody understands it or not, the only way anybody's going to understand this is to tune in and open their hearts, connect their heart grids to the planet, connect their heart grids on a universal level, connect, through your own highest states of consciousness in any capacity. Get out in nature. Get out in nature. Stay out in nature as long as it takes to get your vibration high enough for peace to come in, for beauty to return, for your body to shed the tears, whatever it takes. Go stomp your feet and get the anger out, get it out of your body. Love your body, respect your body. It's about to go through. Now, those of us who have done what we do, I already went through the breakdown of my body. I already went through all the hell. I spent years and years and years and years and years getting my body's vibration high enough to withstand and hold a ridiculous amount of light. We transmit light everywhere we go. We hold light in everything that we do. Everything I write, everything I say, light encoded. You don't see me having to stop and look and figure things out because that's my natural way of being. But for a while, I did have to stop and I did have to look and I did have to, sometimes I'll stop and say, hold on, let me find the right word. Because everything, even now, and I'll say this with you, Lorraine, because I haven't written any of this or shared any of this stuff yet.
Yeah.
All of April was dedicated to new codes, which equate to coordinates. So now it's all about placement. A lot of people
Excuse me, it relates to what? I missed that part.
New codes and coordinates.
Coordinates.
So now April released a ridiculous amount of light codes that give us information on coordinates on different things. And so like every word for me has a coordinate, and I can watch the matrix of that entire word as it works. So let me say this to you to make a point. If every word you speak now dials a coordinate that tells your reality how to restructure for you.
Oh, that's powerful.
Every word you speak teleports you. And we work with teleportation because we understand how this works. DNA and teleporting and all this stuff, it's all a part of the process, okay? Which is actually very simple to us because we work with it all the time. But every thought, every word, every action now teleports every person to experience a reality relative to that vibration. If you look at it in those terms and you understand that everything you speak, if it's a projection of your unconsciousness, it's going out and it's recoding your reality and it's returning a vibrational response to you. Every person will experience exactly what they transmit out. The only thing is that the typical human isn't consciously aware of its subconscious and what it's transmitting. We can read subconscious energy. That's why I can hear, see, feel everything. Each person has to be that conscious of themselves to understand what they're actually creating for a reality to experience here. Every word, every emotion, everything you write transmits a reality. Then we get into birth and reality. Birth and creation. New earth is all new. It's nothing like the old. It comes forth from within you. You are birthing new realities from the new higher consciousness knowledge that you bring forth from within you, and how you show up in the world each day, and how you contribute, and how you share. New earth is contributory. New earth is unity. New earth is how we live our lives. So a lot of people are like, I want to live on new earth where you live. Well, then live the way I do. Fully conscious, fully in service to humanity with every breath. Because when we live that way, we treat everybody and everything with deep sacred respect. It's only when the ego enters our reality that we have to align things and say not okay. Because the ego aspect lacks all of that. It's really understanding that your physical reality is a vibrational response to what you hold, to your belief system, to what you align with, to what you allow, to what you participate in, to what you support, creates your experience. So now I'm going back because this is the way I've been doing with everybody. 3D 45D is an experience. 3D 45D is a timeline. If you don't like the experience you're in, if you don't like the timeline you're experiencing, then you have to shift your vibration. Timelines change based upon vibrational energy. So the human aspect looks at time, looks at things. I'm coming back to a question about the money and the resources, because this is really important to understand. 3D is going to continue to constrict and suffocate and collapse, because it has to, because it's unconsciousness. If you look at 3D as unconsciousness, what's happening is everybody's returning to consciousness. 3D isn't conscious. 3D is a level of consciousness where the physical reality is a vibrational match. 4D, same thing. 4D is where everybody stays to figure it all out, to work it all out, to work through their duality, to work out all their blame and their guilt and clear all the heavy duty emotions. 4D is where everybody stays. 5D, everybody goes through soul union and steps into full service. They've taken care of themselves. They've loved their body. Their Merkaba has kicked in. They've gone through their own ascension process inside. They've merged on a soul level, and they live as a soul here. 5D is where we as souls live. We don't re-enter the unconscious realms. We don't re-enter the old, because there's no joy, there's no purpose, there's no point. And it's withering and dying, literally. And so 3D, when we live in 3D, our bodies actually die. 5D, you've gone through ego death. You've gone through hell. You've cleared all that stuff out inside of you. You've started to realign your life. What a lot of people don't understand is through the years, and I'm watching a ton of it right now, is there's been a ton of people playing around. I'm breaking these down in dimensions just to explain. Those who live from a unified state of consciousness, we don't care about such things. We only break it down so that we can understand things and see. Okay? Because we have to teach. We have to re-educate all of humanity. Okay? And so if we don't break it down, nobody can see. If we don't explain it, there's no understandings. And so we have to do these things because they have purposes.
And when new systems are developed from this vibration, like, for example, home loan companies, mortgage companies, those are going to be by the wayside. But in this unity consciousness, if we start now with this energy, thinking of the ideas, solutions, newness.
That's what 5D is everybody bringing that new forward. 5D is sharing. 3D doesn't share. So here's the thing, is that each person returns to soul level consciousness. Once we return to soul level consciousness, then we start activating all the other templates and stuff, which are all humanitarian templates, but then we have different levels of consciousness that we achieve, because each one is a different level of consciousness for humanity. So with me completing the 12D template with December, with Gaia and all that kind of stuff, I've been working on that template for years. It took me 3 solid years of complete everything in order to complete the template. But I do it inside of me, and it links up to the 12D template of Gaia and consciousness and cosmically and all this stuff. And it gives you the access to all the Akashas, to every matrix program. It gives you access to everything. You can see everything. You understand everything. 5D is a whole new value system. Okay? So this is a revamping of everybody's value system, what you value. 3D values things, identities, status. 5D couldn't care less about themselves. 5D is about living as love. 5D is about coming together in unity. 5D is ideas and inspiration and joy. It isn't until we start hitting 6D that we start stepping into multi-purpose roles. 6D starts a lot of the work mode, which 5D wants to play, because you're still playing and living. But what we don't understand, I had somebody the other day, she's like, Lisa, it's Playland. I'm like, I know. I said, how do you think I can work so much? Because where I live has become my play. I live in pure joy, so it's easy to be in service. I have created this amazing reality that supports me to fulfill my higher roles here, and everybody in my life, it supports them too. The only thing is that if somebody's unconscious, we can't be creating realities together because the whole timeline's going to collapse. And so most people don't understand this is about our relationships. This is about our behavior. And so the ego acts like a little selfish child. The ego is a narcissist. The ego is a bully. The ego is fear tactics. The ego is all these things. Whereas 5D is you're not playing that stuff out anymore, and you actually take your roles for humanity serious and you care. So it's a different level of consciousness. If you can imagine everybody functioning from their higher states of consciousness, life is very different. Our reality, our worlds are kind. You want to know why? Because we're the kind ones. So it's a vibrational match. So that when I walk in the outside world, my physical experience, now this is where it gets trippy and it kind of messes with people's head. My physical response is going to be relative to my vibrational frequency. So which means when I go out, it's simple. Every person greet with a hug. I buy gift cards. I buy groceries for people. I treat people with kindness. I gift every time I go out. I pick up people who are walking. I deliver them wherever that they need to go. If I need to teach, share, support, I teach, share, support, but it's all relative to what's appropriate. If I'm not supposed to connect with anybody that day, there will be nobody in my reality. It's just a beautiful outing. I get to go, stop by the beach, take the book, do some book editing. The thing about it is that through my years, I constantly say, if it's not highest aligned, remove it from my reality. Boom, everybody will go. If it's not highest aligned, I don't care. Take it out of my reality. Only deliver kind people. Only deliver the people who are serious about humanity. Only bring these people into my life. And it's very cool when that's all you'll accept. Guess what you get?
When it's all you'll accept. And I know we've talked about this before, families, members, and all of this. We are the shining example by living this way, by being these values.
Yeah. This is how it works. It's the ripple effect. So like me, I'm going to use me, I'm going to use you and everybody else. Each one of us, we're the nexus of our reality. We're the way showers. Each one of us, when we hold that vibration and we treat others with kindness and love and care, we become the proof. And I'm going to say this, but then I got to flip it. That's a part of each person returning to mastery, is you have to master your own reality. Mm-hmm. That's a part of your learning to have compassion and care. That's a part of you learning to re-educate the people around you, but not by preaching, not by pointing out things. First, you have to learn to be it so that they can feel you and they resonate with your vibration. They see that you're happy. Everybody wants to be. In the beginning, for me, my only role was to be light and affect people through my vibration. People started coming going, Lisa, you're so happy. How do you do it? And then all of a sudden, the door got open and you can explain to them, and so the thing about it is we, as multidimensionals, it's not a running around using the words. It's a living it and being it. That's how people believe you. They don't want to hear you talking it. That's all BS.
Yeah.
And so, but when you show each person every time that this is how you live, this will correlate to everything. And how you live your life, you are the example, you're the proof. But if you can't live it, why are they going to believe you? And so I'm coming back to the money and stuff because it's really important to understand. Mm-hmm. Money is one of the biggest forms of separation in the human reality. Okay? Money represents things to the human that to us represents something different. Okay? Money to us is very different. When you live from an abundant place inside of you, you don't take anything for granted. You don't waste. You appreciate everything that you have. You live from pure gratitude for everything. Therefore, you are more conscious with what you do with your things. Your soul, your light body is of value to you. The people around you are a value. They're valuable. And so this is a complete revalue system for humanity, to understand the value of each person and stop judging people based upon status or the way they look or the clothes they wear or the body they're in. Mm-hmm. It's to connect with the soul and care about that person. Yeah. And put all that stuff aside and actually use your resources and your money to make a difference here. When we start to understand, so now I've done this a lot, especially in interviews lately. If you tell me, Loren, money is power. If you tell me, so some people look at money as power, right?
Okay. Yeah, the 3D realm does, yes.
But from a 5D perspective, money is still power. You can use it to make a difference.
Right, okay.
You can take your money away from things and stop. When you get to 5D, you're not allowed to feed your money into things because you're taking the power away. When you actually understand the power you have through your actions, what speaks for you? Your actions speak for you. So therefore, money is just a tool. Those of us who do what we do, everything is energy. And so money is a resource. As long as we have a money system, then money is a resource that we can use it to make a difference. We can pool our resources. We can pool our skills. We can bring these together to make a bigger difference here. But not everybody is willing to. Not everybody will share. Not everybody understands the importance of this. And so what will happen is those who don't, let's say, that's an unconscious program, which means they are calling forth an experience to teach them the value. To teach them. And while this is occurring, the body is going through a breakdown process because all the systems out there are held by the systems in your body. This is why people's bodies aren't functioning as well anymore. Those systems are breaking down. Those organs are breaking down. All those things, that's a breakdown. If you look out there, those systems are breaking down. It's happening in all those people's bodies too. The grid work for the reality people live in is in muscles. The infrastructure for your reality, the infrastructures out there, they're built from inside. You can correlate everything that's going on in somebody's body relative to what's going on in their own reality, their belief systems, everything. We have no clue how big this is and how everything works. You actually have to have gained access to the entire picture to understand anything. Otherwise, we're working under fractals and pieces and parts and limited perceptions, and we're basing our judgments on those limited perceptions because we can't see. Mm-hmm. So it really means open our hearts so we can see. You open your heart so you can see. You close your eyes so you can see. You open your heart so you can hear. This is a different reality. If your heart is closed, you can't hear. Humans use their ears. We don't use our ears. We use our energy. I hear through my energy. I hear, see, feel through my energy field. Anybody in my field, I can read everything within the field through my consciousness because I'm consciously connected. So if their heart closes, they can be standing behind me and I'll go, oh, your heart just closed, get out of your head. Because it sends out a different vibrational frequency through the unified field of consciousness, and we can hear, see, feel, read that vibration as it's being transmitted out, and it's harsh. This is a completely different existence than before. 3D, 4D, 5D. 5D represents heaven. 3D represents hell. 4D is purgatory. I'm breaking this down in different ways so people can see. 3D represents unconscious program, fixed mentalities, fixed beliefs, conditioning, prison. 3D represents those realities to force the ego into, I have to say these words to make a point. When somebody's in their ego, to force them out of that place, to get their heart open enough to shift out of that place, then the force of the experience has to be more powerful than the ego is.
Hold on. Or maybe don't hold on. But wow, because it could be a big force that is going to be needed for some of these beliefs.
Because that's what breaks the programming down. That's what busts the heart open so the feelings can come up. So the fear, for a lot of people, fear rules their reality. And so what's going to happen is that they're using that fear. So what happens is in 5D, you're not living from fear, you're living from love and respect and integrity. But integrity is on a cosmic and soul level. It's different here. It's not to the old, which a lot of people don't understand. And everybody's persecuting everybody because they're not living by the old way. Or that they don't fit into a box and they're too weird or bizarre. And multidimensionality doesn't fit into a box. It obliterates the box. Literally. And so 3D, 4D, 5D, timelines. Shift your vibration, shift your timeline. Open your heart, shift your vibration. Get out. What happens is when you can't open it a small amount. You can't open it a little bit. You got to open it wide open. All the way. And our human aspect only opens it a little bit. It says, oh, my heart's open. No, it's not, because your head's still running the show. This is different. Your heart is wide open all the time, and you process information, which means you have to pull away to sit and observe it. When you're first coming into 5D, you're learning how to process light codes and light intelligence and light information. And so it takes a little while. So if I ask you something, Lorraine, you go, hold on a minute. Let me sit with that. What's happening is you're pulling away so you can observe and take all the pieces and parts. And you, as a quantum computer, we become quantum computers. We process light data at a ridiculous rate. The crystals in our body are no different than the crystals in a computer. We process light data, light packets, they're in your body. It's just that if you're unconscious, you're not processing light data. If you're unconscious, you're letting fear run the show. Your heart is closed. You can't process light encodement. You're actually, not you, I'm making a point. When your heart closes, it disconnects you from your access. And each person drops back into the third dimension, a timeline, a physical reality to clear whatever is in the way. So an experience will occur because that person believed it into reality. Because the belief was too strong. Because the fear was too strong. Something has to break that programming, and whatever it takes to break that down. And what's happening right now on the earth is that a lot of people, it's their physical body, because the human loves to control the physical body. The way it looks, the way it functions, all these things, what it eats, all these things. When you start physical body ascension, all that goes out the window. You don't get to control your body anymore. Your body controls your life. But there's a difference between distortions and programs, and there's a difference between the light body and a fifth dimensional experience. Your light body runs everything. So if I get up in the morning, I'm okay, light body, get me through this. Let's do this. I can always do anything that's highest aligned. I can always, no matter how tired I am, no matter how much sleep I didn't get. Yesterday was 3 hours. I was bang on and going all day long. Your light body will always carry you through. But if you're engaging in unconscious realities, it'll start collapsing and collapse. Your light body said you don't have enough light to function, literally. And so when our bodies have been depleted of all of our light, then the body will start breaking down. And that's what a lot of people are going through right now. And the reason is because the ego was too strong and it takes their ego power away. They don't get to run the show anymore. Their body's taken over. Their body is saying, you're going to listen to me. It's their light body, it's their soul body trying to upgrade, trying to integrate light, trying to get out of the third and the fourth dimension, if you will. But the human aspect is saying, oh, but no, and it keeps trying to do all these things, and it sees this as an inconvenience, and it's trying to fix everything, or it's trying to find a condition. And you know me, one of my phrases is, you don't have a condition, you have conditioning.
Yes.
You're operating through programs because your light body is not a disease. It's the opposite of what everybody thinks. Everything is. And until each person has gained the capacity through their own experiences and activation of their own templates so that they can actually read and understand, they're not going to understand how anything works and what to do about it. Because it's going to be a different way than the old ways. This is where we get into alternate reality. So if anybody wants to know, what do? Find an alternative to the current way that isn't supported. And so proactive consciousness, it means being proactive. It means supporting and loving your body. It means aligning your whole reality and stop playing in the old. It takes a ridiculous amount of full presence to look at everything, be really, really real about what you see, and then consciously choose what you're going to do. Sometimes you'll pull completely out of things because that's the highest aligned thing. Other times you have things that you have to do, and you will know which one is which. Ascension is a returning to a Christed state of consciousness, to remembrance, where you function through a remembered state of consciousness and you're connected with everything as one again. And so notice the words we use: Christ, ascension, heaven. If you have issues with all these things, then you're going to keep fighting all this stuff. So we really have to let go and of all of those belief systems and programs. An issue is just a belief system and a program. We start to tie together the different meanings and all that kind of stuff, and instead of having judgment about it all. Judgment is an ego's opinion. It's a deflection. It's a finger pointing at everything else. It's a not wanting to deal. It's a lot of things, and it keeps everybody in that loop cycle and blaming, and it creates all this chaos, and it creates realities that are going to collapse. What a lot of people don't understand is that everything that they send out is going to turn around and come back. And so if you're sending out, if your actions are of love and respect and kindness and contribution and higher consciousness, then that's what you're telling reality to return to you. Now there's going to be a gap, because if we have just gone through clearing like all our human karma, if you will, there's a whole level pre-ascension when you're going through ascension where you have to clear all your human karma up. And then it's like, don't create anymore. No more gossiping, no more blaming, no more engaging in the old. Divine neutrality, you have to pull and disengage. You have to let a lot of stuff go. No more ego games. And what we do is in order, I'm using words to make a point, because once you get to a certain point, there's no such thing as karma. But then when you enter these different levels of consciousness that you're working with, then you'll see new levels of karma, because we have cosmic and galactic and all this other stuff that comes forth later. To reverse your karma is to start being kind. To reverse your karma is to open, you create the opposite reality, which also activates your Merkaba for physical body ascension to occur. And so what I'm watching is a lot of people are experiencing their karmic realities, but then they're pointing the finger and blaming it at somebody else out there, and they don't understand. And so even their karma is somebody else's fault. And karma is just an unconscious program. That's all it is. But it will equate to all of our existences. It's not just this one here. I'm just using this one here as an example right now, because that's what most people can see. But once you get into multidimensional consciousness, you see all the existences, and you're clearing all those too. If each person will change the way they perceive things, that 3D, 4D, 5D are a vibrational response. What does that say to you when you're making a decision? 3D, 4D, 5D are an experience. There is, all right, so Lorraine, I'm going to play this with you for a moment.
Please.
So human says 3D, physical reality, right? Okay. Do I not live in a physical reality?
Mm-hmm.
But I live in 5D. So how is that?
It's energetics.
I'll be in a 5D reality, but we're not going to go there. What'd you say, sweetie?
So it's energetics. It's the energy again, and it's what you choose. And so it's very interesting because as you're speaking here, we're all on this planet. We're all on this planet. In some may be in their 3D reality. And so we just have to stay. They're stuck in their unconscious programs.
3D is ego. So if you actually look at reality and break it down into, is this soul aligned or ego aligned? You can actually see the difference in what it means. We have to look at things differently. We can't just look at 3D and call that the physical reality. The physical reality, everybody has a physical reality. It's the level of consciousness you function from, and your reality will support that level of consciousness. And so I can live in a 5D or a 12D just means that I'm unifying with other visionaries. I'm unifying with other people who are doing unity consciousness. 12D is a sacred template that has all the stuff that we live from that template. 3D is a template. It's an ego template. 4D is a duality, the battle between heaven and hell template. 5D is a heavenly template that opens up all the other dimensions, if we want to look at it that way. The template correlates to everything in your life, though. It's not just the job you do. It's not just the friends you have. It's not just, it's all of it. You can't piece and part out this anymore. That's what a lot of people are going through, is they thought that as long as they lived from this little thing and everything else was out of alignment, and they're starting to find out, oh, but wait a minute, the rest of my whole life was out of alignment. Well, it wasn't really in alignment to start with, but they thought it was. And so Gaia is not going to accept anything less anymore. Universally, cosmically, all of our dimensions have merged into one. If everybody understands you live on a multidimensional earth, you get to pick the dimension you live in based upon your level of consciousness. The higher you go, the more abundance. So now I'm coming back to what you said. 3D represents complete lack, but it'll correlate through different things. It's worthiness, it's self-worth, it's what your soul means to you and how important it is. And if you value money over your soul, you won't have any money. I'm putting this as clear as I can. On a soul level, money doesn't matter. On a soul level, money just becomes a tool, and then you use it as an alchemist. You are aligning everything, and you use that money to create. We use money to create. We use money to inspire. We use money. You use money to make a difference. You use money consciously. Humans don't use money consciously, therefore they'll have no money. When I came through, my universe told me how to spend my money. My universe told me what I was allowed to buy. My universe told me, nope, you won't do this. Then I had to start designating my money. This is a whole different ball game.
And you listened. That's the most, some people ask, how do we go so deep inside? We go deep inside and we listen.
The feelings, bring the tears up.
Feelings.
We don't go deep because we don't want to feel. This is an intimate, a deeply intimate connection with your soul. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever experienced. But if you feel an uncomfortable feeling, the human will shut down and avoid. Bring the feeling up. Let yourself break down and cry. Let yourself feel vulnerable, because your power comes through your vulnerability. It's the opposite of what we think. And so we have to let ourselves break down and cry and stop guilting ourselves for certain things. You know, when we first start coming into this and our body keeps shutting down saying, I need rest, I need rest, I need, most people don't know that you sleep yourself awake. Most people don't know that the only way to anchor the dreams here, we live in a literal dream by going to sleep and working in the dream state for a while. If you're not allowing yourself to go to sleep, you can't anchor your dreams here, because a lot of people, I'm watching, oh, I don't want to go to sleep, I have fears and I'm having nightmares. Well, you're clear in 3D. But people don't understand this, so they actually avoid because they don't understand. When I understood that I was anchoring the higher dimensional realms through lucid dreaming and shutting down and going to sleep, you actually walk in a lucid dream for a while. It's very trippy and bizarre. None of this fits into the norm. It means really letting go of everything we once believed. Yes, I had to open up. I had to let my universe teach me how to do everything all over again. I had to listen to guidance, and I had to stop wasting, and I had to stop coveting things. I had to stop identifying with things as my value. I had to stop identifying with a job as my value. I had to stop identifying with the people you surround yourself as a value. I had to stop devaluing myself. I had to stop devaluing the people around me. I had to show them they had value. I had to treat them with the utmost. I had to value their work. Humans don't value service work. And so I had to change my whole value system and how I saw things and how I understood. I started to have to value the people in my lives, stop discounting them, talking down, treating them like less. I had to see them as sovereign and support them and inspire them and show them the beauty they had inside, because they couldn't see it yet. I had to be the one that showed them their value and then walk away and let them go through all their worthiness and all that kind of stuff, because everybody's going to have to go through it. But you know what? You can make the most profound statements in the simplest ways. You can see, when you function on a soul level, you can see the beauty of every other soul. But if you don't, you can't. And you value yourself, and you don't accept less or take less anymore. We're not playing out the lack games anymore. I don't compromise on a soul level. I don't give in. I don't go back into play. You know me, Lorraine, do I? No, ain't gonna happen.
I use the word immaculate with Lisa.
I bring it all to the forefront. It's like, let's deal with this right now, but we're dealing with it from love. We are elevating the whole reality into a higher state of consciousness by talking about it, by being really honest. Nobody's hurt. No. We have to consider each other's feelings, because if somebody does something that's disrespectful, they're not considerate of my feelings. Why would I want them in my world? Mm-hmm. And so it really means taking responsibility for what you allow in your reality and valuing you. But here's the thing. Money is one of the things that represents the greatest separation within each one of us on an ego level. So it means restructuring and reassociating how you see money. It's energy. Mm-hmm. If you live your life unconsciously, if you don't love and respect your light body, if you don't love and respect the people around you, if you're still completely entrenched and engaged and embroiled in the old, you're not going to have anything. Because the whole 3D reality is lack. It's from our separation from ourself as pure source light. We don't have that connection, so we don't have anything. 3D was built on attachment to things. So the whole human existence, all right, I have to explain this to make sense, Lorraine. I know we ran over, but bear with me. 3D was built on everybody's perception of a dream, of what made us happy, and it was about things. It was about acquiring this. It was about accomplishing this. When it's time to wake up and ascend, all that stuff goes out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. Every reality we built doesn't matter anymore. If it's completely out of alignment, the whole reality can go. The human is sitting here going, but wait a minute, I worked really hard for this. It doesn't matter. If it's not aligned and serve humanity, it will go. And a lot of people have to start from scratch and rebuild their whole reality aligned on a soul level. Those realities don't collapse. It's highest aligned. It was brought forth in vibrational response to love. And so each person will have to go through this. 5D is everybody's reality aligned on a soul level. And so when we get into money and all that kind of stuff, I played this game. I remember there came a moment that my universe told my little human, and basically what it was the feeling. So a lot of people go, how do you hear? I had a feeling. On a human level, I was still semi-unconscious. I was still waking up. And I wanted to do a course. Mm-hmm. And I got up that day and I saw this course and I'm like, oh, I really want to do that course. And then the battle inside started. It's like, oh, it costs so much money. And I was on a fixed income. I didn't have a lot of money. I'd already gone through, my job went. It was time for me to wake up.
That's a wake-up call.
That's a wake-up call.
That's a metaphor.
In that moment, though, I had to choose spending my money on my soul. That was the test. And so what happened was, up until that point, I wasn't willing to spend the money on this because my soul was of no value to me. Mm-hmm. And so what a lot of people don't understand is, I can see the program when people come to me, I don't have the money. Well, if you actually look at them, what they're saying to you is, this isn't a priority. That's different meaning. I had people come to me for years saying, I don't have the money. And the next month they're on vacation. I don't have the money. I got to pay my car payment. That told me your car payment comes before your soul. Well, those of us who do the work that we're doing, it then becomes about how much we value our time and energy and what they're receiving. Those who can do certain energy work, you can heal diseases. You heal a disease and somebody goes, oh, can I give you $50? Really? You've spent 30 years with this disease and all of a sudden it's only the human value system is completely messed up. Mm-hmm. It's completely backwards. We don't value. And so what this is a breaking down of the old value system and a rebuilding of each's value system. In the beginning, my universe said to me, your light body is your priority. And I'm sitting here as my little human going, but that costs a lot of money. I got to buy water. When I only have this much money, it's going to cost me this much money. It's like, yes, you will. It's your highest priority. And you know what? I spent the money, and guess what? I always had the money. Because this is a vibrational existence. It's not linear in any capacity. I didn't understand at the time that the higher my vibration, the more abundant I would be.
See how that works? Let's repeat that. The higher your vibration, the more abundant.
Because I live from abundance inside of me, and I share the abundance. So in the beginning, my universe says, you can have more. You need to ask for more. You've only been asking for enough to get by. Because I'm sitting in the universe, why am I only got enough to get by? And it says, because that's all you keep asking for. I'm like, well, duh. But the catch was, because this is how our human is re-educated to learn to open up and share. The catch was, I could ask for more, but half of everything that came in, at first it was 100%. I had to learn to work for nothing so that I could care, and that I would do this without any money. And for a while, I actually had to work for free until I learned all the lack of people. And the more I worked for free, the more they were beating me to death, and I had no energy. And then I had to stop that because it triggers everybody else's lack.
People don't value what they get for free.
And because they don't value it, they don't apply it, and it doesn't really create a change. And so how much we spend on things for the human creates a value system. So if somebody pays $300, all of a sudden this has more value than this for $3. Mm-hmm. And so it's different for us. It's energetically what we're gaining, what we're receiving, how it's going to lift our vibration, because the higher we vibrate, the more abundance we have, because the more we share. And so if we understand it's a cyclical, it's this energetic, it's the toroid field, it's the electromagnetic field, then the more we get, the more we share, the more we get. And so what I started understanding, because you gain knowledge, was that the more I got, the more I had to share. And the more I shared, the more I got. But it wasn't from a place of lack, it was from a place of love and caring. And I actually had to stop supporting the lack in other people, because the more human ego is involved, the more there's entitlement energy, and we're not allowed to feed that either. So there's a lot of different higher consciousness things that we have to live by, because we're not allowed to cater to the ego. We have to re-educate the ego, and we have to learn what our roles are here and how we're supposed to contribute. The ego will show up with its hand out, but it won't want to do anything. It'll use the words, what about an energy exchange? But all it's doing is pulling, but it doesn't really care. And so this is about energy exchange, means you understand the value and that it's a beneficial value to all parties, not what you can get out of things. And so when you can read energy, you can understand all these things. When I started understanding, I got more, but I had to share more. Then I started looking at ways I could share. And then I understood that I was to share with all the other people in service. So I started looking at people who were in service that didn't have as much, and I started sending it all back out. I started picking people. And I'm like, universe, bring me this, bring me that, I'll share. And I started, the more I sent out to support other people, the more I kept receiving. And then I started understanding, cool, it's the generosity breaks the cycle. When you live from that generosity in your everyday life, if I go to a restaurant and I'm just giving you examples because it's really important. Yesterday I went to buy groceries and I don't know how much I left. I ended up leaving like $100 in gift cards to buy people groceries. And the people are going, Lisa, you've given enough. I'm like, nope, this is how I do. You know, this is how we live our life, though. It's not for a big old pat on the back or anything like that. This is how every person is supposed to live. If every person lived this way, there would be no lack in this world.
That's the vision of New Earth that I have and I hold, and that'll be beautiful. I can see that.
But here's the key code. You have to live it to receive it. It's not sitting around asking for things. I say, universe, bring me this, and I get up and I do the work. Once I do the work, it will come. It's not a sitting around waiting for things to drop in my lap. The only thing is that our lives become really easy because they're all based upon service and humanity, and you're doing things you love and enjoy, and it's rewarding. It is the most fulfilling thing you will ever do, is to fulfill your soul purposes here. And so that's your reward. You don't need anything from it. It's that energy. It's making a difference in people's lives. It's seeing somebody you hand a $20 bill break down and cry.
I call those love bombs.
And the thing about it is we spread it everywhere we go. You know, I had one dude one time, I think I gave him a $100 bill for a $100 oil change. And he looked at me. Immediately his lack came in and he wanted to do something for me. I said, no, you have to be able to receive without doing anything for me. He didn't know how to receive. And when I got ready to leave, he's standing outside and he stopped me and he looked at me and he said, and he broke down crying. He said, you know what? You showed me today that I have value. He said, if you ever need anything, and this is it though. People go, how am I going to get anything? How am I going to get anything? You live this and it'll come to you naturally and organically. You won't need for anything at all. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going back to the question about, I don't have this, I don't have that. Change the words to, it's not my priority.
Okay. Yes.
And then when it becomes your priority, it'll shift the energy. This is about shifting the energetic flow. I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have enough is root chakra, heart closed, fear, nothing can come to me, I'm closed down. Whereas this is my priority, your heart opens and it creates this energy to start calling forth the things to support. And so it's really understanding how the energy of every reality works. and being open you have to, everybody has to reprioritize what's important. And for me, my soul and my light body became the most important thing so that I could fulfill my higher purposes here. And the moment I made that declaration to myself and I shifted my priorities, everything changed. That's the game changer for every person here. It might take a little while because you're still breaking program. If you still have any, I don't believe and I don't trust, all that's going to come up. But the biggest thing, Loren, is do whatever it takes to establish that connection inside. Do whatever it takes to consciously surrender your ego and your whole body. Do whatever it takes to open up, to listen, to soften and open your heart and stop judging and disbelieving, because that's all ego tactic stuff. Do whatever it takes. Get out in nature. There are so many ways to do this. There isn't just one, it's all of them. Flood your consciousness with everything higher consciousness. You're reprogramming yourself when you do. And so it's basically, go to my website. I have all the little freebies. My website's full of freebies for people that will use them. And the reason we do that is to get people started. And so there's tons of freebies. And then so like when we do these things, we offer special offers for people. We offer communities. There's tons out there for everybody, but each person has to be willing. There's so many people sitting around going, I don't understand and I don't want to, and it's going to inconvenience my world and I don't have enough time. Those are the realities that collapse. So it really means changing your priorities and making it a priority. I had to change my mentality. I had to shift my energy. I had to shift what was more important. And I had to make my soul, my light body, my purposes, my priority. That's when my whole reality started to align. It's a process. There's going to be a lot of things that we all have to accomplish in order to align our whole reality. It means aligning your reality with love. It means living love consciousness for yourself. It means treating other people with love and respect and being the example, and stop just using words. It means live it, walk it, breathe it, be it with everything. We're here to show people how to do this through our presence. We're here to show them. Nobody cares about the words anymore, if you'll notice. Your actions speak. And so when you understand your actions speak, now there will be a time of inaction where everybody's told pull away. That's a different. That's learning to be and let things go that your ego wants to get involved in. That's an opposite part of the process. But when it comes to the lack mentality of not enough, basically my universe said, make it your priority. It's basically, we're rewarded, I'm using human learn, for choosing our soul.
Yes.
And the reward, though, is the beauty and the love and the experience and the bliss and the magic and the fun and the play, and then new opportunities and new ideas. And from that, we create. It's a completely different reality. New Earth is all new, brought from each one of us, birthing new realities and bringing them forth and sharing completely in every way. It's compassion and respect, but it's a zero tolerance for unconsciousness to keep playing itself out for over and over in a loop cycle that never ends. So it's basically each person making that conscious decision as to what's important to them, because each person is going to experience exactly the vibrational responses to what is important. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And Lisa, this is just, we are inspired anew. We are feeling fresh and invigorated here, and we are prioritizing the soul. And that is really it, and going inward. And you've given us a lot of great tools and tips in this quantum conversation. And so as we say goodbye, I want to take a quick moment in a quick minute here and point our community and those watching and listening to your special offer. There's actually a couple of tools and programs that we've got with Lisa. She's got quantum alchemy and quantum jumping. So check those out. Those are long programs, and anywhere you start with this, it really does unravel you and help you prioritize for the soul. And also on there is a mastery empowerment course on our special on the show page here at acoustichealth.com. You'll see that mastery empowerment course. That is now a video on demand with Lisa that was over 10 hours long. So this is a great immersion with Lisa that you can really use to empower yourself as that sovereign being in priority, in alignment and connection with your soul. And then this is in June, but we can talk about it now, is a New Earth focus group, and it's 2 days with Lisa. And so just get ready. We're online, we're over Zoom like this, and it just, these experience, Lisa, I I think I'm still dizzy from the one that we did on 11/11 last fall. It is so expansive, and it just keeps us in in that path, on that path, in a great new earth trajectory. So thank you for that. That's stay tuned everyone, because that's coming up in the 1st of June, and that'll be on the website, and we'll make sure everyone knows about that. It'll be promoted soon.
One thing I want to say is that for people to understand, everything has an energetic matrix to it. And so when we're dealing with anything that has to do with the ego, we're constantly breaking down that energetic matrix of the ego program. And so breaking down the programs is a ridiculously intense job. And so with a lot of the stuff we do, we're breaking down mentality, breaking it down, breaking down. And what you do is those geometrics, when you can see all the geometrics and stuff, what you're breaking down is that geometric, which for the human was a linear geometric. And what we're doing is we're breaking down that perception, that mentality, and restructuring the reality and creating a new reality from new codes. And so it's new geometrics, and new realities are a result of those new codes. So a lot of stuff we do, even though we might go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, the reason being is the geometrics of the entire experience and reality is a part of a bigger whole. And it takes that long to deliver everything through consciousness, because consciousness is not linear, it's quantum. And so we're bringing in all these geometrics of pieces and parts to an equation. So when we teach a class or a course or we're doing an event, just like this, we're sitting here talking and look how much stuff I bring in. Okay, this is not linear. So anything we teach is no longer linear anymore. We're bringing in all the geometrics for that thing, and it takes as long as it takes. When I do with my community, you know, we've gone 20 hours straight. I don't do that as much anymore. Now it's like 12 hours. But the thing about it is we can go for 12 hours and not even miss a beat, because it feeds your soul. It's inspiring. It's energetic.
Yeah.
And so anything that feeds your soul is inspiring and energetic, and it'll give you energy. This is a great gauge for understanding. If it's depleting you, that'll tell you something. In addition to that, though, I want to say this. If your body's depleted of energy, that's one of two things. You've put all your energy into something that didn't support your light body. You've given all your light away.
Mm-hmm.
Or your body is in a breakdown mode through photonic light, which weakens your system. So you can't function while your body breaks down on a cellular level and rebuilds through consciousness. That as it works through your body, it'll be weak. Your muscles will be weak. You won't hardly be able to do anything. That's an important, beyond important part of this process to honor and respect. So I need to say that because so many people are going through this lethargy and I don't have any energy. That's your light body. Okay? It's really opening up to understand something completely different than anything before. And not only understand it, accept it, and support whatever your light body tells you it needs. That's the most important thing, is if you will actually listen when the process is complete, you'll be bang on, have a bunch of energy back to creating and doing all these things. But one key is if you get involved in the old stuff and expel all your energy again, you're not going to have any energy anymore. You're going to have to start all over again. That energy is for conscious creation. That energy is for you to feed it into birthing your new realities. That energy is for your new earth reality. So I want to say that so that people can understand how important your energy body is. So, yes. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No, thank you, Lisa. That was perfect and a great conclusion to our quantum conversation today. I'm always elated after listening to you. I'm always unraveled. And when I go through my challenges, as we all do, humans, you ring through in my head and you're actually there as a guide. And it's quite beautiful. And so, everyone, happy consciousness choosing, happy playing in this new earth field, in this new earth realm. It is here and you all get it.
New earth priority. New earth.
New earth is a priority. When we look out there, I'm getting chills right now. When we look out at the world, or if by golly, to Lisa's demise, we look at the news, we peek at the news, that should empower us to really, truly live this and bring it forth. And that just gives me great joy. And I see it. I truly, truly see it. This is a movement too big to be stopped, as it has in the past. And it's truly right here within us. And so, Lisa, I just thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I do too. This is about all of us returning to our higher states of consciousness and living this fully here. And so when people say, how do I get to new earth? You have to go inside and connect. You'll have to see it. You have to feel it and believe it and make it a priority, and then dedicate yourself to your new earth reality. You're going to have your own. It's not going to look like everybody else's. So don't be comparing realities anymore. Look in what feels aligned for you. It comes from joy. It comes from bliss. It comes from magic. And don't judge when you're clearing the heavy duty stuff. That's an important part of the process so you can reach a higher vibration. So if you understand, so like when you said challenges, Loren, challenges are just for our ego.
Challenges of ego, I will clarify. Yeah. Ego challenges.
Your heart,
surrendering the ego, right? Consciously correct. Surrendering the ego. That's what we're going through.
Yeah. Well, and challenges will come in all along the way to find a different way. And so if everybody can understand.
Sneaky little bugger.
Challenges are to shift everybody to an alternate reality. If you can remember that. Challenges, when you get into parallels and alternate realities and all these different dimensional words that we use, if you're challenged, one is to clear energy, break ego stuff down, but two is to find a different way.
Yes.
And if everybody understands the reason you're challenged is because the current way isn't working, it's not aligned, and then stop trying to do it the old way. Start saying, okay, how else? How else? There's a part of opening the higher mind consciousness and the neural pathways and the universal corridors, which is a whole different part of the ballgame. That you actually have to observe everything and open up those neural pathways to see different ways. And so that's a different part of the process, and you will actually see different ways of accomplishing. It's no longer linear anymore. You actually use higher mind consciousness through your heart to open up those blocked areas of your brain so that you can, it's the ancient centers of your brain where all the knowledge is. And so it's a part of the process. Challenges are so we will actually go inside and open our heart and sit with it and expand and clear that energy and find a different way. So anyway.
Yes, beautiful. I want to thank you, Lisa Transcendence Brown, for being here today. And I want to thank everyone who's joining us for being here today. We do indeed honor you, and we cherish your soul, and we cherish our soul. This is the priority. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you and all you're doing and everybody that you're reaching to and stepping into your way showership and open up all those portals and doors and look at all the people that you have the ability to touch their hearts and souls. Isn't that beautiful?
And we are all the way showers as we learn this work and we share it with others. And that is New Earth as we create it together.
Show the way, baby. Be the light.
Be the light, babies.
Be the light, babies. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And so now here is a link here to Lisa's special offer and the beautiful courses and teachings that she creates to support your journey here. Now it is time to dance our way to the cosmic heart. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.